You're a superstar basketball player. You represent your organization. You represent your family. You represent your city. You've got to be mindful of all of that. It's never off. And so many times we don't tell these players this. NBA has off-duty police officers. They've got connections with the FBI. They got connections with everybody. The NBA knows what you're doing. They know who you're doing it with. They know where you are. They know how you're conducting yourself at all times. Don't think they're not watching. They're always watching.
All right, this is the video that's going viral, and then we're going to watch what Stephen A. had to say about it. All right, let's get to it.
I got money.
That's it.
Man, you got me tripping in this bitch. That nigga ain't slime.
Okay, this is where he flashed it. It was at the beginning of the video, he's flashing it. Now, this is a career ending, but at the same time, they may let him slide. But the big question here is, why is he doing it? Why is such a rich athlete that has everything going for him, can get whatever he wants, can buy whatever he wants, and can do whatever he wants, what would cause him to do this? And I'm just going to say one thing and one thing only. It's the women. It's the women. The women will make a man act like this, especially when he gets money and the attention he's getting for women are not the same. One thing about it is, a lot of girls would say this: money does not unlame a lame, which means that when guys get money, they can appear to be more insecure and more lame than what they was before they had the money. So when you have guys like this that have everything in life and they're still not getting the attention from women, they feel like they have to show off and be the thing that women want and the thing that women are going to attract to. This is why he's hanging around all these women right now. He done got a little bit of tipsy, because if we go and look at his lifestyle, and this is his lifestyle, let's see here. Let's look at Ja Morant's family. Okay, you can see he comes from a good family. We can see that. Brutally honest, good bread. Big shout outs, bro. He says, big dog. All that hard work and having abundance mindset pay off. Never be scared to tear down BS bullshit. Start over. And this is the new channel. We at 20K. Big shout outs, bro. There you go. You're starting over and you're rebuilding. Sometimes you just got to know when to adjust. Just keep building up, bro. You'll get there. All right. Now, if we stop and look at Ja Morant, it looks like he comes from a good family. And typically, these are the type of guys that do get caught up in gangs. When you stop and look at gang culture and you start looking at the majority of the guys that are getting shot and killed, a lot of them are just like Ja Morant. They come from really, really, really good homes. And coming from a really, really good home, and then they get around the type of woman that they're attracted to, the type of woman that they're attracted to are used to the thugs and the gangsters. So he starts to believe that he's too soft in order to appeal to the women, or he's too soft for people to respect him. One thing you have to understand about money that a lot of people without money don't understand is that whatever you are before money, money is only going to enhance who you are. So if he was insecure, nice guy, very vulnerable before the money, which most guys that's raised by both of their parents and live a happy life, like, look at his life. He lives a happy life before the money. It looks like he was happy. These type of guys feel like they have a lot to prove. And the reason why they feel like they have a lot to prove is because there's so many soft people behind the scenes, but the type of woman that they likes the tough guy, like the gangsters. This is why when we go back and we go to the party, he's not surrounded by, like you would think with his money, he's going to be surrounded by the best looking women, the best quality of women. But when we stop and we look at who's he's around, let's speed this up a little bit. You can see, for one, he got the money, dressed like a rapper, but then again, we gotta realize, He is 23 years old. He is 23. But if we stop and fast forward it, let's go back. See if the girls. All right, right there, he's showing off. This is typical stuff. Oh, the girl got her boobs out. Oh, man, we got to move on that. So now you see they're back there with the girls. Hold on. And that's who they're showing off in front of. Why? Because there you go. Now he's throwing up gang signs. Now you have a guy that came from this type of background, right? He came from that type of background to this. For women, they're not doing this for the men. Because good guys that come from good backgrounds, most of their friends are good dudes that's probably going to college and doing things with their life. He was never thugging. This is this guy right here. This is him. He was never a thug. Keandre, thanks for the shout out. He was never a thug. Look at him. He got a nice, good family. Never a thug. Never. Looking clean. But when he gets the money, they want to feel powerful. Men that get money, that's what they want to do. They try to pay for their fantasies. They want to pay for what they want people to perceive them as. When that doesn't work, then they try to act like it. This dude is not a gang member. He is not a thug, but yet he's promoting it. Why? He sees it in the videos. He sees it in the music. It's like he grew up listening to it. Now he has the money to actually pretend to be the rapper. Now it's more real. Now it's like, I got the same amount of money as the rapper, so I can act like them. Why? Because the women are attracted to it. The women are not gonna be dancing around with their shirts off in front of the clean cut dude. That's just what they're not gonna do. They're not gonna like this clean cut dude. They're gonna bounce around with the guy that's the thug, because you gotta realize he's still 23 years old. He's not like LeBron. They gave him the money too fast. He got rich too fast. He went to the league too fast before he can actually mature into the man that can handle the fame. He's facing insecurity, and the money did nothing but bring more of that out of him. Let's go back and watch it again. Granted, he does sound intoxicated. But you have to understand, drunken words are sober thoughts. That phrase has always been around. Drunken words are sober thoughts. So you have to understand that he's been holding this in, and he's been wanting to act like this so he could feel free doing it. But all he's trying to do is just look cool in front of the girls. Why? Because he doesn't look cool when he has to act and be the superstar, to be the basketball superstar. That's what a lot of these guys are facing. It's like they give them the money to be rich, but then they turn around and they say, hey, you're a brand now. You got to act like this. You got to talk like this. You got to walk like this. You got to do like this. And they turn them into robots after they give them the millions of dollars. Once they turn them into robots, the guys are starting to feel like they're losing themselves and that they can't be them at any time because they're under so much pressure. This is what happens when you're holding a lot in, and then you finally get around to that alcohol, and that alcohol forces it all out. Now, let's see what Stephen A. had to say about the situation.
Go down.
Arresto offers 8 continuous months of effect.
All right, here we go. They said Stephen A. ain't playing with him.
Go down at the top of the Eastern Conference, Milwaukee and Philadelphia tonight. Stephen A. Smith, Jalen Rose, I'm Mike Greenberg, Michael Wilbon, and Adrian Wojnarowski will join us in just a moment as we begin with the latest developments in a story that has been developing all day and certainly has the entire NBA world talking and beyond. The Memphis Grizzlies announced that Ja Morant will be away from the team for at least the next 2 games shortly after the NBA announced an investigation of a social media post in which Morant appears to be holding a gun. The video was posted early this morning at a nightclub. If the NBA concludes any wrongdoing, Morant could face punishment from the league. Now, ahead of this video surfacing on Instagram this morning, Morant...
All right, let's see here. He says, it looks like he's been in a couple of recent incidents. It looks like the most recent incident, police report, last summer, Morant and associates in confrontation with the mall head security, no charges were filed. Police report 4 days later, 17-year-old alleged Morant had gunned by waistband after altercations, no foul charge. January 29th, Morant acquaintances and post-confrontation with Indiana Pacers traveling party. Saturday morning, Morant appears to display gun on Instagram post in the nightclub. Okay, if you ask me, he is young, and you got to realize that these modern day kids are brainwashed. We live in a world where these kids think violence is good. They think guns are cool. So you're seeing it's promoted mainly in the music. The music is putting off the frequencies. And once your brain gets a hold of the frequencies, it doesn't matter the money. That's why guys have to understand everything is psychological. Material things would not change the outcome of your psyche. They never do. This child was coerced into being perfect, but he never got a chance to live as a kid. So now as he gets the money, the more pressure they're putting him on to play basketball, the more he's doing this to lash out. He's lashing out like, I just want to be free. I just want to be free because you guys are putting me under the pressure of playing basketball, and then I'm getting the pressure from the streets. So what's the perfect way to defend himself? Act like somebody from the streets. That's all he's trying to do. He's trying to match the energy off the only way that he knows, because he's getting it from the music. This is why a kid like this, the good kid, Ja Morant, good family and good friends, if he's not taught any street smarts growing up, then this is what he's going to end up doing. You have to have street smarts, because if you don't have street smarts, the streets can capture your energy and it can take you under. Let's get back to it.
And or his associates have been under investigation by police or the league for their connection to a number of incidents. The Washington Post detailed 2 situations last summer in Memphis where Morant faced accusations, but in both cases, no charges were filed. The league also investigated an incident on January 29th between Morant acquaintances and the Pacers traveling party, which the NBA could not corroborate. Now, the league is investigating this IG video from early this morning. And as I mentioned, our NBA insider Adrian Wojnarowski is here. He's been working the story all day. And Woj, you received the statement from Ja Morant today. Let me read that for everyone. Ja said, "I take full responsibility for my actions last night. I'm sorry to my family, teammates, coaches, fans, partners, the city of Memphis, and the entire Grizzlies organization for letting you down. I'm going to take some time away to get help and work on learning better methods of dealing with stress and my overall well-being." It's worth noting Morant has also deactivated both his Instagram and Twitter accounts today. So, Woj, that is what we have off the top. What more can you...
One of the main things that they're going to have to do is he's going to have to go to out of sight, out of mind. He's going to have to fall back. All right, that little 2-game suspension is not going to be a real big deal. And the reason why it's not going to be a real big deal is because they're starting to get a lot lenient on these type of things because of the way that the world is shifting. You have to understand, the NBA still knows this guy is going to put up his points. They're still going to show up at the game. What he's doing is what people see every single day on Instagram, on TikToks, from guys that look like him. If anything, he's just making black men look like they're going to act like this no matter how much money they get. That's the downfall about it. It's setting black men back. It's not setting himself back, and it's increasing the stereotype because he has the dreads, he has all the tattoos, he's flashing all the money. He comes from a good family. Look at it. This is a happy family. Comes from a good family, but insists on acting like this. So what's really happening here is he's setting black men back, because now you're just installing fear even more than what people thought before. It really says, hey, black men are just gonna be acting like this no matter what. He has increased the stereotype amongst black men, but the nature that he's doing is not shocking. People are seeing this type of stuff every day on Instagram. Whenever they go to arrest these dudes, they show them on Instagram doing stuff. Look at the Young Thug case. They keep bringing up Instagram. Look at your boys on Instagram. Look at these guns on Instagram. Look at you talking on Instagram. So when you have somebody like him who's famous and rich and insists on looking like that and insists on being that, it only sets black men back even more.
We'll continue.
The thing is, it's kind of deeper than him getting help, because from my understanding, he's a big NBA YoungBoy fan. So if we go to NBA YoungBoy, we go to NBA YoungBoy, this is who they're saying he's trying to be like. He's trying to be like NBA YoungBoy. NBA YoungBoy be wilding out like this. But one thing about NBA YoungBoy, he's changed. Ja Morant is pretty much obsessed with this guy right here. This is the guy that Ja Morant wants to be, but it's NBA YoungBoy. It's like every kid under the age of 25 wants to be him. He's a really famous dude, and his music promotes a lot of this stuff. So you have to understand the frequencies in the music are extremely powerful.
To bring us any further details as the story continues to develop, we bring Michael Wilbon into the conversation as well tonight. He is with us from the desert in Scottsdale, Arizona. And very quickly, I will just show you, we say that he's going to miss at least 2 games. Here's the Grizzlies' upcoming schedule. For what this is worth, obviously, it's a story.
I got to get to Stephen A. I want it.
Morant put out.
World and Beyond has thoughts on.
Really proud of the statement that Ja Morant.
Around the NBA World and Beyond has thoughts on. Stephen A., we'll start with you. What are yours?
Well, I want to first say that I want to preface my comments by saying that I'm really proud of the statement that Ja Morant put out. It was necessary. It was apropos, no doubt about that. And I want to make sure that Ja Morant, his family, his friends, and everybody understands that all of us up here are fans of his. And anything that we say, myself, Wilbon, Jalen Rose, Woj, anybody, we're saying it in the best interest of his future. I covered Allen Iverson for the first 10 years of his career, every day. And when I tell you that was a beat in and of itself, Woj knows what I'm talking about with that. Everybody knows what I'm talking about there. It was a different level, okay? But when you look at Ja Morant, the one thing that I find incredibly alarming, there was so much stuff that Allen Iverson took hits for that had nothing to do with him, but everything to do with the company he kept. And because from the streets, very loyal, ain't diming out anybody, he take a lot of hits. In this particular instance, that's Ja on film. That's Ja that you see on the TMZ video. He had no choice but to own that, to be honest with you. And so I applaud him for embracing that. But when you bring into account the other incidences, let me look in the camera and say what I'm about to say to Ja Morant. You are a superstar. You're 23 years old. You got a deal that kicks in next year that could exceed $231 million over the next 5 years. And on this show, on national television, there's you associated with police. Think about that for a second. And then ask yourself, is it really, really worth it? You know the answer to that, bro. It's not worth it. You're a superstar basketball player. You represent your organization. You represent your family. You represent your city. You've got to be mindful of all of that. It's never off. And so many times we don't tell these players this. NBA has off-duty police officers. They've got connections with the FBI. They got connections with everybody. The NBA knows what you're doing. They know who you're doing it with. They know where you are. They know how you're conducting yourself at all times. Don't think they're not watching. They're always watching. And when I get upset is that all of us, Jalen's from the streets of New York, Detroit.
And the thing is, Stephen A. is right. They're always watching. But you have to understand too, when it comes to these type of guys, they never truly own their names. The money that they're getting is just money that they're getting. The people that's giving them the money are way richer than them. Big shout outs to B. Ross with the $4.99. He says tuition. Really appreciate it, my dude. Okay, what you have to understand is, yes, they do have people watching, but they actually enjoy the drama as well. You know why they enjoy the drama? Because even the drama makes money. There's no such thing as bad publicity. Look at Patman Jones. Patman Jones done went to jail for drugs. He done went to jail for beating up women. He done went to jail for everything. And guess what? He was still able to come back and play in the NFL over and over and over again. Why? Because there's no such thing as bad publicity whenever you're dealing with these corporations and you're dealing with the media. There's always money that can be made. And big shout outs to John Naple and Angel Torres with the $5. John Naple with the $10 from your big shout outs, bro. Really appreciate both of you.
I'm from the streets of New York City. You know, we know this kind of stuff. We know the kind of things that people fight just to protect the few dollars they have. What do you think an organization is going to do to protect their multi-billion-dollar investment? They will spare no expense. They will do whatever they can. So I want him to be mindful of that, be aware of that, understand that you're in a different stratosphere. You got to conduct yourself properly. I'm going to say it to his boys as well. I had the pleasure of meeting them in Dallas this summer. I think good dudes, hearts in the right place. They mean them no harm. But you got to step up and be protective of yourself and be protective of him by the way you conduct yourself. That laser that was allegedly pointing at the Indiana Pacers, you can't have stuff like that coming on. You can't have stuff. And last but not least, his dad, to T. Morant. Nothing but love and respect for you, sir. You are his daddy, not his friend. His daddy. I'm not saying you can't be friends, but you're his father. And so when we see this kind of stuff going on, all of y'all get lumped in because it ain't just a 23-year-old Ja Morant.
The friends can't tell Ja Morant what to do. Nobody can tell Ja Morant what to do. I'm going to explain to you, like Stephen A. Smith is saying, the people around him, you can't do that. You're his dad, you can't do that. The mom, you can't allow her to do that. Can't nobody around him allow them to do that. It's different when this guy gets millions of dollars and he done bought everybody a Lambo. He done bought everybody a house. He done bought everybody jewelry. Everybody is living a vacation lifestyle on Ja Morant's dime. They not getting ready to tell him shit because they are afraid of being cut off for the money. That's the main thing. This is how these celebrities end up in trouble. It's because when you put family members and you put your friends in a position to where they can be millionaires or they could be thousandaires on your dime without doing anything but co-signing everything that you do, then they're going to play their role. They're going to play their job because they don't want to get cut off. That's exactly what's happening right now, right? And this happens amongst people that get money. When they get money and they create these egos, they're pretty much paying everybody else to say, hey, just go along with me. It's hush money. Rich people give people around them hush money. It's like, I'm rich, I'm paying for this, you let me do what I do, and you just tell me I'm great. You feed me into my ego. That's all I need you to do. The only time that people would start telling people the truth is when they really start seeing the money being affected, or they start seeing them putting themselves in a position where they're going to harm themselves to where they can't make the money to keep taking care of them. So the only time that they're really going to say something to Ja Morant is when he crashes and falls. Then they're going to say, hey, man, we should have did this. Hey, man, you should have did that. Everyone's going to say it after he crashed and fall. But before he crash and fall, they're going to go along with it because they just got a Ferrari from him. They just got a Benz from him. Their bank account is loaded because of him. They're not going to turn around and tell him something he don't want to hear or that he needs to hear. It's because they don't want to go to work. They don't want to struggle. They want to sit around and they want to let him be whatever it is he wants to be. So Stephen A., you have to understand, he's not the first one to do this. Damn near every NFL player and NBA player are going to wild out like this, and people are going to let them because they love being retired on their dime. It's that simple. All right, let's go back. Let's continue going.
Morant that needs to protect himself. It's all of you who love him, who want to protect him, who wishes for the best for him. You have an obligation to look out for him too. Do it.
It's really well said. Michael Wilbon is from Chicago.
Once again, the family, friends, and everybody know that, but they don't want to miss out on their paycheck. They don't want to say, hey, you should be doing this, and then Ja Morant says, well, then don't come around again if you disagree with me. And then they got to go back to work. That's what they don't want to do.
By the way, Michael, what are your thoughts today?
They're between sad and angry, Greeny. I'm not going to pretend to know Ja Morant well, but
Showdown at the top of the Eastern Conference, Milwaukee and Philadelphia. To his being away, he's a superstar player. They play both LA teams over the course of the next few.
Kept and with you. $31 million. They got connections and stuff. We know the kind of things that people. So I want him to be mindful of that, be aware of that, understand that you're in a different stratosphere. You got to conduct yourself. Who wishes for the best.